Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan. It is week one of the NFL season. I'm stoked to say the least here, and it's going to be a very exciting time. Just keep in mind, I've hit 65% against the spread over the last three seasons, and also 68%. It's even hard for me to say that. 68% against the spread, college football. Went 9-3 against the number. Very grateful in week one. That's off to a fantastic start. And while I'm at it, why don't you get on board? If you haven't already, I think this is the year to do it. There's no guarantee I'm going to hit 68% again. I might only hit 58 or maybe even 48. I mean, there's no guarantee in this sport called sports betting or the business of sports betting. We're here to invest and we're here to profit. So, given that statement, I am confident that we're going to have another winning year. 9 of the last 10 have been winning years, so it stands to reason that we would be. Now, if you just wanted to get my 5% 10-unit games of the month and games of the year, which I had one last night in Major League Baseball, it was a total. Reds and Mariners went over the total before the sixth inning was even done. Those are the type of 10-unit non-stressful situations I just enjoy immensely. I even fell asleep before the end of the game. It was so relaxing. Anyway, you can get the whole next year all the way through 8/31/24 for $400 right now, saving you over $1,700 from buying them individually when they pop up. They average about one every 10 days, but let's keep in mind it's much more active between now and the end of the year, given that it's all sports. So we do college basketball, NBA, the whole kit and caboodle. So that's 56 and 26. That is 82 plays over the last 4 years of action, and that covers all sports. So I encourage you to get that if you want just my absolute best bets and to make it literally one bet a week, knowing that these things have done so remarkably well. Or you can take advantage of this deal. It's only $27 per week, which seems ridiculous, but I want everybody on board. I've done this 28 years, and it's about time that I pass on the baton to those who want to learn and educate themselves to be more astute bettors and look for the key opportunities that really no one else is finding, and with the analytics backing it up, such as I have been doing for year after year after year. So if this is something you want to talk about, just send me a direct message on Twitter or send me an email at johnryansports@gmail.com or jrm1227@gmail.com will also get to me as well. Let's get to the fun stuff now here. We're going to take a look at week one trends that you need to know about NFL dogs. This is the week that I just absolutely love, and there's so many opportunities in week one, and I don't think this is a week. I know there's pros out there that would disagree with me, and they would say, John, you probably should wait a little bit and let the data come in. But you know what happens when you do that? Then the market adjusts. And there's one thing I do with the Circa and the Circa contest is that when we get into week 12, I have a benchmark because the Circa puts out lines for every single game of all weeks. You can look it up right now online. You have betting lines. You could bet week 14 with the Patriots if you wanted to. So with that said, that gives us a benchmark right now of what the market sentiment says about all 32 teams. If we then wait and the line adjusts, then a line that could be -2 now could be -8 down the road. But when it's -8 down the road in week 12 and it's moved that much in 12 weeks, then it gives us an opportunity more than likely on the opposite team. That last year in the Circuit contest helped me win 67% of those betting opportunities and even higher when my predictive models were aligned with them. So I think it's very important that you take advantage of the mispricing that's going on right now. And there's no better situation than dogs in a divisional matchup in week one. They're 22-21 with two ties, 31-12 with two pushes for 72%, covering by an average of 5 points per game. This tells us to bet on the Giants, the Packers, the Raiders, the Browns, the Colts, the Panthers, the Rams, and the Jets. Now that's quite a few bets, but unfortunately even this drill down, if we narrow it down to dogs priced at 6.5 or fewer points, 72% against the spread, 19-14-1 straight up. Maybe you cut your bet size in half on these, or maybe just do a third of your normal bet size so that you don't get too exposed, because anything can and will happen in the NFL. But these plays and these situations have done extraordinarily well for more than 2 decades, and there's no reason to think that they won't again do well this year. So let's go to one other thing I'm talking about here. Games with 7 or more point leads by both teams. So what I observed over the past several years is that scoring volatility, as I like to call it, is going up. That means a team will score and it'll look like they're taking control of the game. Suddenly there's a missed field goal and the team comes back and scores. And you have this back and forth type of action in the NFL, not nearly as severe as in the NBA, which is a much, much higher scoring sport. I mean, that's first and foremost, that big difference there. But volatility now in the NFL is starting to catch up to those of college football. Even college football with totals of 65 or more points are extraordinarily great opportunities to take advantage of the live in-game betting. So as we can see here, in the 21 season, we had 85 games of the 272, or 31% of them, show a lead by the home team and the visiting team of 7 or more points. That means that you can back and fill against the trend. You're basically doing what I used to do on Wall Street: buy low, sell high. And it's exactly what you're doing with these in-game bets as well. Since 2001, 1,287 games, or 21% of the games played, featured a home and visiting team both enjoying a 7 or more point lead. Lastly, the scoring volatility for the Kansas City Chiefs, and this surprised me. I don't know about you guys, but it surprised me. 32 games they have played over the last 5 seasons in which they or their foe had a 7-point lead. So with Thursday night being tonight and Detroit coming into town, we don't know if Kelsey's going to play at this point. The line is flirting with 5. I actually just got 5 on the Detroit Lions just a few minutes ago, actually. But I did bet it at 7.5 several months ago, it feels like, and that's on my Twitter timeline for those that want to watch that video. And I also did it on ESPN as well. So with this situation, I think you're just better off, if you haven't bet the game yet, then don't bet it yet. Take Detroit tonight as a free best bet right now. I'm giving that out free. And let's move on to the scoring volatility here, because it really tells us not to do teasers or parlays anymore. And if you can hear that sound in the background, I apologize. They're doing some tree work on the office building next to me. I can't do anything about that when it turns on. But anyway, in these situations, I have always been leery of teasers. I recommend that people don't do them. Parlays, the same thing. I have friends that they show me a ticket that has 7 games on it, and they say, "What do you think?" Well, I think that, that's great if it hits, but the odds of it hitting are so remote that it's not even worthwhile doing it with pizza money. So then it suddenly dawned on me with my in-game betting strategy, why do teasers when you can pick up 6 points on the line during the first half of action and do it that way? And you can also back into the total. So if you like the teasing the over tonight and the Detroit Lions, then why not wait till the first quarter in the first half and try to get those same prices on individual bets? That way you have a tremendous opportunity of at least going 1-1 and losing just the juice, as opposed to losing the whole teaser bet, which requires you to win both. And I encourage you to watch this tonight, because I do think that you'll be able to see the Detroit Lions in game at a margin of 6 or more points better than the closing line. So that would be right now plus 4.5. It'd be plus 10.5 on Detroit in game the first half, and also the total being 6 points cheaper. So if you like Detroit and the over, I think you'll be able to leg into it in 2 independent bets, which makes it so much better than having to win both. So as we can see here, if we bet the favorite at 6 or points cheaper than the closing line, the dog ends up 3-22 straight up. They still lose the game, and 14-11 against the spread. If you bet the favorite with a line that was 6 or more points cheaper, look at that, 24-1 against the spread. You just increased your odds tremendously by not doing a teaser by not even betting the game pre-flop and just trying to get a team that you like at 6 points better than the closing line. And with the scoring volatility the way it is and the number of games that are seeing +7 or more point lead by both teams, I highly recommend you track this. Maybe you just paper trade it, don't invest any money, and see for yourself how it works. Again, it's not going to work for all games, obviously. There's going to be a few games that, of course, the team gets out to a lead and never looks back and blows the other team out. That's going to happen. But nevertheless, these are going to be great opportunities in the NFL because, as we like to say, the NFL is not for long. And given that statement, what I mean by that now is not for long as in terms of the movie, but not for long in terms of a lead and consecutive scores. If a team scores twice in a row, that's going to give you that opportunity to get that 6 point line cheaper than the closing line. Okay, so that's well, here in 22, home dogs of 3.5 or more averaged a 6.65 lead in their games, even though they were dogs. And the favorite, averaged 11.71. So if you take those two numbers and use those as your pivot points in the game, you'll be able to come up with these 6 point teasers without having to do a teaser and win both sides. So you'll be ahead of the book. You can get both sides the way you wanted it. Or you know what, if you get the first one and it's the side and you don't want to add the total, then don't. It's just a great opportunity, and I really, really recommend, send me feedback about what you're finding, because it's the communication and the sharing of information among all of us that's going to make all of us, including myself, better bettors. You can always learn from anybody who has a passion about a certain subject or sports betting or sports or whatever. And that's what a lot of the world is all about. So I want to get all philosophical here, but I'll let you finish that slide on your own. And that one too, if our favorite trailed by no more than 7 points at the end of the first quarter, our favorites went 616, 408, and 20 pushes against the number of 60% winning bets. Just hammering that out. In a simple form, you're hitting 60% just doing pizza money sized bets in game betting. So again, I'm pretty passionate about this, and I definitely encourage you to take a shot and get on board these types of opportunities. So I do have another pick here, I believe. All right, NFL betting opportunities. This is one that I had brought out a few weeks ago. It's against the Eagles. And I don't think the Eagles are going to have a Super Bowl hangover like other teams did, like the Bengals last year, who started out very, very slow, playing, like they were playing in mud against a team that was playing on, the hardcourt surface of the U.S. Open tennis matches. Nevertheless, I do think they are vulnerable here in this first week. It's not necessarily a hangover. It actually could be a situation where, hey, we were in the Super Bowl, you didn't even make the playoffs, and we don't care that you're Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady's gone, and you were only good because of him. Whatever the reason is, there's a human nature component here that makes a Super Bowl loser a little bit overconfident when they're a favorite. They're supposed to win, right? But sometimes, as Sun Tzu in The Art of War said, some battles are won before they're fought. And we often seen in the Colorado, in college football, it's going to be an excellent case study, especially if they fall flat on their face this week. I don't want to see any team fall flat on their face, but they are in that prone situation of being overly confident and too much hype. The take now by the public on betting on Colorado right now is just record-breaking, to say the least. So if you wanted to bet that game, I highly recommend, no matter what the outcome is, the side to bet in that game is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Such is the case in the NFL, too. Not to the extreme of that Colorado game, but in this situation here that we're looking at, bet against a Super Bowl loser, weeks 1 through 4. They've gone 40-40 straight up. So that means, theoretically, the Eagles could be 2-2 through 4 weeks. And they also could be 0-4 against the spread. Who knows? They might be 3-1 against the spread. But this system works every single year so far for more than 2 decades, going back to 2002. So the total here, 46-33-1, under 58%. I like that a lot in this week 1 matchup with the Patriots and the Eagles. And if the Super Bowl loser is on the road, then maybe we bet against them too, because it's 25-16. And if the Super Bowl loser is a road favorite in week 1, the record speaks for itself. 2-7 against the spread. That means fading them is a 78% winning angle. So again, you can remember last year the Eagles started out fast in the first quarter. They got their lead, and then they kind of, more or less managed the game, took time off the clock, and won. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that theory. I kind of like it. But in this particular situation, maybe bet half your normal bet size on the Patriots if you like the Patriots as I do, and then look for the Eagles to score quick and try to take the crowd out of the game and control the tempo and everything else that they are good at doing. But then that gives you the opportunity then to get on the Patriots at probably 7.5, and that's a pretty darn good number if that happens. So just a suggestion, give it some thought, paper trade it. Nobody's telling you to add even a dime to these new types of betting strategies that I'm presenting. But I encourage you to just watch it and say, you know what, that did work or that didn't work. And, send comments into the section here in the video. That would be great. Let's see, NFL coaching trends here. I'll let you have that piece of information to look at when you have time. And I think that's all I'm going to show today for the show for the NFL Week 1 show for the betting opportunities for the Week 1 card. I do hope that you take advantage of the special deals I'm offering for subscriptions. I am John Ryan, and always, always remember, bet with your heads, never over it, and may all the wins be yours.